Hey, what's going on, folks? Mr. Mom. You know, one of the good things about having multiple tanks is just noticing like different variables and stuff and different setups. And it kind of ties into, I've been getting a lot of different questions about what substrate I use. And I want to say, guys, what's more important than like actually the brand of substrate you use is how you use it. Like, I use a few different brands of substrate, and I usually mix them because, like, for instance, I like to use Eco-Complete. It's one of my favorite substrates. I agree with the way Eco-Complete holds down plants. I agree with like how fine the granules are. I just like the way it works. But I gotta say that, to be honest, I don't know if used properly that there's really that big of a difference between, say, Floor Max, which is kind of the cheaper, you know, lower end stuff that you can buy at PetSmart, or the Eco-Complete, which is obviously more expensive. Now, what I usually do is I mix them. As you can see down there, the lighter colored stuff is the Fluorite, the darker colored stuff is Eco-Complete. I mix them just to, you know, save a little bit of money, and I think that combo is a decent combo, so I roll it. But what I can say that is probably the most important thing, or two of the most important things when you're talking substrate, is one, the thickness. Any kind of stem plant, any kind of grouping plant, let's say swords, like, you know, those are some red flame swords back there, blue high grow, any kind of stem plant that you're going to bunch together or anything like that, you're going to want to give those roots as much space as you possibly can to just flourish and, you know, get to the nutrients and spread out and grow deep. Because if you think about it, just like with any other plant, nature, trees, whatever it may be, the more room that their roots have, the better that plant's going to be, the happier that plant's going to be. So if you're looking for, you know, real Higgins growth in your plants and really good root growth, you're going to want a nice thick substrate, minimum 3 inches. And I would even go out on a limb and say 3 inches may possibly be even insufficient for a lot of the hardier stem plants. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, like for instance this dwarf 4-leaf clover. That stuff is really fine rooted, you know, that stuff's probably going to grow even in an inch of substrate. You know, a lot of carpeting plants will, you know, like dwarf baby tears and dwarf hair grass. Second thing is obviously nutrients. You want a nutrient rich substrate. Basically what that means is if you have a new substrate, a new tank set up, or you're adding a bunch of new plants at one time, put some root tabs in there, or, you know, make your own root tabs. There's a lot of good videos on how to make your own root tabs or whatever. But do something to add some nutrients to your substrate. Make sure those roots are getting as much nutrients as possible, because, I mean, the more plants you have, the more nutrients you're going to have to put in there, and they're going to get most of their nutrients from the roots. So before I skew off and start, you know, getting too uneducated babble, just let me tell you guys, if you want good Higgins wicked plant growth, make sure you have a nice thick substrate base and make sure that, you know, you got nutrients. Now, once your tank is, you know, up and running for a while, you got a lot of fish in there, you know, you got the excess food and their poop and all that stuff, you know, the root tabs don't become as important at that point, because again, your substrate is going to hold those nutrients and, you know, supply them to your plant. So that's about as simple as I could put it, guys. I do want to thank all the subscribers, all the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. I'm going to start pumping out a bunch of videos, guys. The purling's happening big time in this tank, and I definitely agree with that. So I agree with all the new subscribers. I also agree with all the support for Fired Up Aquatics, guys. I appreciate it. The store's giddy. I'm giddy about it. J Flesh Tanks is giddy about it. You know where to go, guys. J Flesh Tanks, Mr. Mom Tanks. Thanks for hanging out, people. Peace.